do we say this? A crime's been committed? How do you follow that? Man, that's some exciting stuff. Hey, I know we're winding down here, and we're a little bit over. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with you. I'm just going to go through a couple of things with you. It's really, with every event, it's what do I do? You got all this information. I know we've been in meetings since, with Chairman's Council, Advisory Board. It's been a whirlwind of information the last 4 or 5 days. But the reality of it is, how do you seize the moment? I am fortunate. First to be married to my wife Barbara and have 3 great kids, and fortunately we're in good health, and our life is in order. But I also have the great fortune of being around Bloom every day, and his example is really in the coaching. It's not so much what he may say to me personally; it's just watching his actions throughout the day. He's on the phone all the time. He's always doing 3-way calls. He never stops selling the dream. And it's great to be around that, because it's like everything else, it's osmosis, right? What you're around most of the time is what you're going to get most of the time. And a lot of times I'm in the other office, maybe on the phone or looking at something. I hear him, and I'll kind of pop my head out of the office and just listen to that conversation, because he's doing a 3-way with somebody. He probably does that with me once in a while too, just to make sure I'm saying the right things. But anyhow, the exciting thing about it is, it's great to be in that environment. A winning environment is what it is, and that's what we heard Steve talk about. Because look, focus is what it's all about. We've been talking about that all weekend. You've got to have the ability to say, I've got to focus in on what I have to do. Okay? So yesterday you saw some nuts and bolts on, I like to call it the product side. Today you saw some nuts and bolts on the system side. Now it's up to you to say, I've got to capture this, have a laser beam focus, and go make it happen. For me, I have to tell you, I think because I'm a little bit simple-minded, it's easy for me because I only think about one thing. Everything revolves around building. That's all I think about. So everybody to me is a potential recruit. Everybody they know is a potential recruit. Every sale is a potential recruit. Every new person has the ability to take me to somebody else. That's all I think about. So it's relatively simple for me, because that's all I think about. And that's been it from the first day I started here. So a lot of things we talked about today, and I'm not going to go through these all individually, but I think it's important for you that are here, whether you're new, you've been with us a while, where are you in this system? I think it's important for you to identify that, right? Some of you maybe you think you're a trainer. Maybe you're a licensed person and you need to work with a trainer. Maybe you need to work with a trainer for a couple of months and get yourself back up to speed. Or make sure you're on track. Brian talked about alignment. Well, you got to know. How do you know if you're out of alignment, right? Well, you got to get with your coach. Somebody's going to help you, right? So we talked a lot about that. I'm going to get into it. Here's what I think is the whole business, and this is what makes it simple. I kidded around a couple of months ago. I said I wrote a book. And they said, oh, really? What's the book? I said, it's the shortest book you'll ever read. It's only got 1 chapter. And when you open it up, it says, pick up the phone and call somebody. The end. That's the whole book. And somebody actually did ask me if they could get a copy of it. So I thought that was pretty funny. I'm not sure who recruited that guy, but you may want to up your market, up your game a little bit, okay? But here's the point I'm trying to make. It all starts with the contact. You've got to make a contact. And what do you have to do? You've got to make a presentation. We talk about it all the time. It doesn't matter how you do it. We've coined the phrase, are you in front of your computer? Contact 3 people a day. Now, I didn't say, are you in front of your computer and then never follow up ever again? See, my follow-up system is this here. You have to die or you're going to sit with me. So I don't worry about whether you watch the video or not, because I'm going to call you until we get together, so it doesn't make a difference. Right. See, so if you've got great follow-up skills, anything works. If you have lousy follow-up skills, nothing works. Take that to the bank, okay? So presentation, where do you go from presentation? We call it onboarding. What does that mean? How do I join your company? So it's like, okay, Steve, I want to get in. What do I do, man? What do I do? There's got to be some format, right? Why do we use PowerPoint? Do I know what's on the slides? Absolutely. Do I know what's on the slide? You know why it's up there? So you can learn it. Yeah. And it's duplicable, right? So why do we have a plan of action? It puts it in order. Somebody comes in, here's what you have to do, right? What that does is it helps everybody in our business to become more effective at building their business. Because if it's not simple, it's not duplicable. How many people use an iPhone? A lot of you, right? How many of you have an iPhone 6? Are they all the same? No, they're not.
Well, they're the same.
They're the same, but they're different. They're the same, but they're different colors. Do they all work the same? They all have the same operating system? Imagine if they were all different. Do you think they'd be that successful today? No, right? So you gotta have some, look, I'm not saying this is it. This is a system we've been using that's doing pretty well, okay? But if you don't have one, you need to find one, right? Otherwise, follow the one that works and just make it happen. This is a repeating process all the time, never stops. Contact, presentation, onboarding, plan of action. Well, what happens if they don't want to join? Off presentation, it becomes client. So somebody says, look, the timing's bad. Steve made a great point. 15 years. You know, I get that. Well, so what do? Say, okay, I'll call you later? No! We just showed you living benefits. Let me help you, right? And by the way, who do you know? 10 circles. Get referrals and keep moving through the system, right? Keep working that. This is a continuous cycle all the time. I like to call it the success cycle. What's your why? I'm not going to get deep into this here. Look, unless you know why you're here, it's not going to make a difference. I know why I'm in Freedom Equity Group, and I know why I've been in this business for years. And it's always been about freedom. You've heard me say this a million times. Well, maybe 100 at least, anyway. And that is, I've never been motivated by the dollar. I've been motivated by the freedom it provides. So you have to recognize what your why is. Sometimes somebody will say to me, well, my why is I want to help people. And I said, that's wonderful. Now tell me the real reason. We all want to help people, right? I mean, everybody wants to do something for other people, but you know, you've got to determine, you know, what is it that makes you get up every day? Okay? So I'm not going to get too deep into that right now, but I think, and you've heard that before, so you've got to start with that because that's the reason. We say this all the time. Every time I ask this question in a room full of people or in a training class, I say, how many of you joined us to sell insurance? Now one hand goes up. People say things like, I want to buy a new house, I want to change my life, get my wife out of her job, put my kids to private school. The list goes on and on and on and on. So what do? Oh, I got this great living benefits life insurance. And that's why you ought to come to work with me. Really? But yet you just said, I didn't join to sell life insurance. But yet that's all you talk about. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? What we need to talk to people about is why you joined the company. Right? So Helen, if you join this company because you want to make $1 million a year, well, if you're talking to Tina, and Tina says, what do? Listen, I'm an entrepreneur, and I joined the company I'm with because I want to make $1 million a year. What would you like to do with your life? I didn't say insurance. I didn't talk about living benefits. See, that's what we do, but that's not why we do it. And believe it or not, folks, people don't follow you based on what you do. They follow you based on why you're doing it. And once we get that down, you'll stop building a big team. Some of you say, I want to recruit, but you talk to everybody about insurance. What's that got to do? I don't want to sell insurance. You'd never recruit me that way. So why? What's your why? Once you determine that, everything else takes care of itself. See, I listen for signals. And look, I get this from Bloom all the time. I listen for signals when I hear people say, you know, TGIF, or, man, I can't believe it's Monday already. To me, that's a signal. I don't like what I'm doing. I'm not happy with my life. You know, I mean, the reality of it is, so if I'm talking to Peter, and Peter says to me, look, TGIF, and I say, great, I got living benefits life insurance. Well, you see how crazy that sounds? But so if you're saying, I want to recruit and I want to build, Why would you say that? That's not attracting anybody. See what I'm saying? What's attracting people is the same reason why you joined, to change your life. Talk about that, okay? Become a leader. Before you can become a leader, before you're a leader, success is all about growing yourself, right? We talked about that. When you become a leader, success is about growing others. And this kind of falls in line with coaching too, right? It kind of falls in line with, well, how can you become a coach or a great coach? Not just anybody can be a coach. A great coach, unless you become a great player first. Because you've got to understand the pain of doing things you don't want to do. You know, I was listening to Cassandra earlier, and she really is a great student, and she will be a great coach. Why? Because she has done whatever has been asked of her. As uncomfortable as it was. See, we've got a lot, look, we've got a diverse group, and I understand it's about timing, and winning is about timing too. Okay? So there's a bunch of people in this room, and of course, some have already left. Some of you say, I'm sure if I went around the room and said, hey, how many of you want to win? Everybody's hand goes up. And that's what we like to call convention talk. And then there are some people that will actually leave here and go do something about it. And actually start talking to people, start building their business. Meaning get started, will make a change. Like Renee Simone came here, fired up, made a decision at lunch, she's going full time. That's what these events do. Now she's already working her tail off, she just has more time to do it now, okay? That's all about the builder's mindset. And I'm not, again, we heard a lot about that today, and for time, I'm just going to kind of blast through this a little bit. But here's what it comes down to. They call it coaching, but it's teaching. Look, I talk to a lot of guys every day in this business, tell me how bad they want it. And all they do is talk at people on the phone. That's not coaching. Coaching is in the field. Great coaches don't sit in the press box. They're on the field. They're getting money with everybody. They're running meetings. They're doing appointments. They're helping people make calls. They're doing whatever it takes to get it off the ground. Does that make sense? You do it all. I like to say chief cook and bottle washer. You do it all. You do it all. You know, as I'm working with Mike. Mike just moved here and he's building a base shop. Guess what? Yeah, I'm doing kitchen table appointments with him. Helping him get his business going too, right? And I do that with other people as well if they had the right motivation. I don't work with people who want to sell. You don't need my help to sell. Get on a webinar. But I can help you build. So I talk to a lot of people in our business on a regular basis, and they're worried about all the things that don't matter. And what I'd like to try to impress upon you today, focus. Focus on the things that do matter. I promise you, and you've heard this before, nothing I say is really original. You can never say the wrong thing to the right person. If somebody's opportunity-minded, you can mess that thing up any kind of way you want, they're still going to look at the business because they're looking. You take somebody that could care less, not looking, not motivated, you can make the best presentation that anybody could ever make, and you're still not going to get it because they're not ready to do it. You just got to accept that, okay? Building leaders, and I just want to pull out a couple of things here out of this slide. First of all, everything is duplicatable. Everything. Or duplicable. Everything. Good and bad. You've heard this before. Make sure the master copy is worth duplicating. If you're not duplicating, well, maybe some of you don't want to duplicate yourself, but if you are duplicating the wrong habits, maybe you need to get in alignment. Maybe you need a tune-up. Maybe you've got to sit with your coach and say, okay, what am I or am I not doing so you can get to the next level? But you can't filter that. You got to be willing to do it. Takes a lot of discipline to win. You know, I was watching, how many of you know who Usain Bolt is? The guy's a phenomenal thing. He's like a machine, right? Well, I happened to just catch a video the other day. In fact, I almost played it this weekend because I thought it was that good. And he says, listen, these are my words, of course. He says, you have no idea how hard this is. He says, you have no idea how many times I'm running around the track and I want to quit. It's like, tired, it's hard. It's hard to push yourself, right, Jake? It's hard. But he keeps doing it, he keeps breaking records, right? Well, most people won't do that. Most people do quit on their dreams, right? So, and wrapping it up, I love a lot of Vince Lombardi quotes because he says, the difference between a successful person and others is not lack of strength, thank God. Also, not lack of knowledge, thank God, but rather lack of will. See, let me tell you something. I know I'm not the smartest guy in this room. I know that. And I know I'm not the strongest guy in this room, but I know one thing. I'll outwork anybody. There is no doubt in my mind. This ain't about Al. But see, I heard Steve talk about winning. And Bloom motivates me all the time. Bloom is, I like to call him my coach and my mentor. And he's not always critiquing me on what I need to do, but I'll walk in the office and put another picture up of Gillis Mall. And it works perfectly. Works perfectly because I'm a competitor, right? So look, it doesn't matter to me that he's been together with those people for 15 years. It don't matter to me because that's an excuse. You know what? See, my mind says he'll slow down. He'll go fishing on his boat. And Al's going to keep working. Right? Because I'm like that duck. A lot of times, even Bloom, I think, sometimes thinks I'm like that duck floating on the water. Okay? But you know what? At 6 in the morning, I'm on the phone with people. At 11 o'clock at night, I'm on the phone with people. I'm always going because underwater, my feet are always going. Always going. You know what? Because I believe in competing. And see, I believe as a team, I truly believe this team, that we are the best team within Freedom Equity Group. And we will be number one. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay? And it doesn't matter who may have a start, who's got this, who's got that, who's got more people. It doesn't make a difference. Win is win as long as you have a commitment to win. The last thing is, leaders are made, they're not born. Now, look, folks, this is stuff, nothing here is original. I heard this a long time ago and I said, thank God, because I don't think I was born a leader. Okay, and I'm not saying I had bad upbringing and like that, but when I learned that I could become a leader, if I surrounded myself with the right people, I said, I got this thing. I can do this because I can copy anything. And I can work my tail off, okay? They're made by hard effort, which is the price which all of us must pay to achieve any goal that is worthwhile. And I'll tell you, Michael, my son Andrew's in the room, they know I'm as tough on them as I am. In fact, I'm not as tough on them as I am on myself, and certainly not you, but the reality of it is, it takes toughness to win, doesn't it? Because I promise you, I read something the other day, look, people's opinions don't pay your bills. People's opinions don't buy the house you want to live in or send your kids to college, right? It's just a matter if you want to do it or not. I want to leave you with one last thing, because I heard this several times since the Vegas convention, and this is for our team. And I've said this to some of the leaders, but I want to say it to everybody. And I heard something like this. Hey, I heard that the Freedom Builder team is a lot of old people. Now, Lindsay, when I heard that one time, I said, they're just razzing me, But I don't forget. It's in the archive, right? And then I heard it a few more times, And you know what? They said, wow, yeah, they got a bunch of old people over there. They'll never be able to catch us because we're all young and vibrant and blah, 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 blah. And that's what it sounds like to me. But I got to ask you again, is it true?
No. You just have more experience.
Old school works.
More experience?
Wisdom.
Is that what it is?
It's called old school works.
We still got to work hard.
That's right.
We still got to talk to people. We still got to get in the trenches. Now, the good thing about being smarter and more experienced is we don't have to make all the mistakes they're going to make, right? We don't have to do all that, right? That'd be pretty dumb. But we can focus and get serious. So, you know, here's what it comes down to. You know what it would take to surpass the MOA team this month in recruiting? If you'd all go back and just recruit 3 people. I didn't say 300, James. 3. That's 3 more than a dead guy. Right? Right, Bob? Right? Think about it, right? If everybody in this room just went back and in the next, whatever it is, 12 days, just recruited 3 people, we're #1 in recruiting in the company. Just 3. Steve, can you believe that?
Crazy.
Just 3. In fact, it could happen with just 2. I'm saying 3 padded a little bit. Probably could happen with 2. Now, see, I'm saying that everybody's going, yeah, that's unbelievable. Yeah, and then we're going to leave here. We're going to go out to dinner tomorrow. You're going to go to church Monday morning. Oh, yeah, it's Monday. Oh, it's Monday. All right. And another month goes by, and it doesn't happen. So I guess what I'm saying, gang, is this here. Look, it is for the taking. ESP is real. I've never seen the company like it is today. Never. Okay? It has transformed from the 3.5 years that I've been here to where we are today. Thanks to Ron, Petro, and Bill. They've put this thing together. They've put us in a position to win big, but now it's our turn. They're doing all the things behind the scenes. We got to put up to help them get us where we want to get to. So I'm pretty fired up. And Dave, if you don't mind, I'd like to bring Bloom up here. Bloom just going to say a couple words. That's why we kind of changed the order up here a little bit. I just want him to know that, you know, we've been friends for a long time, probably going back 15, I don't know, 20 years now. Seems like forever that Bloom's been in my life. And I will say this here. There has been no better friend. We've always stayed in touch, even when we weren't working together. He made a lot of those initial phone calls. He's a guy that really cares. He really does care about all of us, and I know he cares about me and our family. He's done great things for us before and now, always there. And you know, as a leader of our company, I don't know that you could ever ask for more from an individual, right? I mean, you know, as a leader of our company, you don't want him to, you can't expect him to do it for you. Right? But man, short of that, I don't know what else he could do. He does 3-way calls. He's nonstop. We'll be in the meeting. Oh, do this 3-way call. Who is it? I don't know. Some new guy just joined. Because he gives out his number. It's not like it's the president of F&G calling him and says, "You got to take this call." It's the newest guy. He's always trying to help each and every one of us win. And that's our chairman. You know, he's not a field guy. He's our chairman. But he's one of us. And I think that's what makes this company so special, is we've got a chairman. Look, you know, Bill, he does what he does, helping us with companies. Petro's probably one of the greatest trainers that I've ever met in my years in business. But as far as the rainmaker, the guy that just says, "Let's go make it happen. Give me the phone." He just starts dialing people. I've never seen anything like it. And he just never, ever stops. So I feel very blessed and fortunate to call him my friend, to help him any way I can in this business. So to wrap us up today, please help me bring up our chairman, Ron Bloomington.
My feet are killing me and I gotta pee. Hey, at my age, I can say what I want as long as it's the right way, right? Look, I just want to say this. Thank you so much for coming and taking your time. 4 years ago, my partners called me, Petro called me, he said, "Come to California." I went out there and he said, "Look, this ain't working." He said, "I don't want to be your partner anymore." I said, "Really?" I said, "Why?" He said, "You hadn't worked in 7 years. And I was kind of cute. I said, "Has it been that long?" He said, "Bloom, look, the 3 of us are only overriding 35 guys to make a living." Think about this 4 years ago. I said, okay, but I got to get excited about the business again because I've done it all. I've had a property and casualty agency, I sold it. We built a broker dealer, we sold it. We built a big life insurance operation, we sold it. I said, what is it to get me excited? And he started talking about living benefit life insurance, and I still wasn't excited. And all of a sudden I started talking to some guys like a Lindsey Byron, his brother that had 2 strokes, 2 heart attacks, now 3 strokes. And I believe the stress of not having money in the family would cause the other strokes, right? And he didn't know much about it. Tim Henswart's wife had cancer. Tim I've known for years. I said, tell me what this policy would have done for your family. He said, Ron, I've lost everything I had. All of a sudden I'm thinking, he said, if I'd had this product with you, we'd have gotten $450,000 cash. It would have changed everybody's life, including my kids. Because we've lost our house. So all of a sudden I'm thinking, if guys in the business didn't know anything about this, this is a springboard to at least go back and talk to everybody you know. Because only 1 or 2% of the people in the country knew it. So I told Petro, I said, look, I'm going to go back. I said, give me a year. And I said, I'm going to move out to California from Texas again. Last time he got me to go to Silicon Valley was a lot of fun. We were in the mortgage business as well. Became the #1 mortgage brokers in the country. Doing what we were doing. And I said, Petro, I said, let me get around the guys and see what they're excited about. So I spent 2 years out there in a little bitty efficiency apartment. Now you move a wife like mine out of where she lives into an 800 square foot efficiency apartment, and that's a woman you can trust your money with, right? Your life with. So she did that. And we were out there 2 years, and I got it. I picked up the lingo. We started recruiting some people. Bill came in and said, look, we'll never build it in San Diego. I've been trying. He said, people here are lazy. The weather's too nice. They go to the beach on the weekend. Nobody wants to work. I said, Bill, I bet there's people in town that want money. So we started some of the building basics we're talking about here. We started teaching our people to invite 10, but bring 1 person to the meeting upon penalty of death, almost. And I started giving them cash awards to bring who brought them up. So people started coming to the meeting. Everybody started bringing 1. We taught them what to do before, during, and after the meeting. And all of a sudden, the first meeting, we did all that work. We had 1 lady in the office. Her son showed up, 29 years old. He's looking at the ceiling the whole time. Most of you would have said, that's it, it's over. That's how we started this thing. But we kept after it. And when I left San Diego, we had 200 people jammed in a room every week. And we were talking to 200 people about an opportunity. That thing exploded. And I walked into Bill's office. I said, okay, I got it. I'm going back to Texas. He starts crying and says, you can't leave. Because I told Petro, in a year, if you don't like what you see, you can have all my stuff. And he took me up on it. I should have said, and I get yours if you like it. I didn't. The point is, I said, Petro, look, I'll take care of the recruiting end of it, but we got to have somebody run administration this thing going to get hot, because we're going to go national. Al was the first guy I called, so I can't tell you how much I appreciate. I said, Al, I want to go national with this thing. You take the East Coast. I got guys on the West Coast. Let's go attack the country. Here we are, not 4 years later, with 35,000 people, doing almost 40 million in production. Do you understand we're only overriding 35 guys 4 years ago? So when you think there's no chance for you, Houston's got 8 million people. We had 400 offices in our other company in Houston. If you look at the numbers on this thing, in Houston, when all of us were with our former company, Dave, 1,000 sales a month is what we did in Houston with our team, Lindsay. 1,000 sales, George, and you did a big chunk of it. 1,000 sales, the best month I had was $60,000. 1,000 sales in this is 720,000 overrides. It's 10 times bigger for the same production. You could do 10 times less to make the same money. If that's not something to talk about, but people look at me like, oh, well, yeah, that sounds good. So you got to find guys that really want it, and timing is everything. Because I called Al for 3 or 4 years, and Brian Daly knows guys, and that's what was getting me discouraged. I was calling the same old guys over and over. Steve for 15 years, and they were giving me the same answer. But until I went out there and got engaged in the business, immersed myself in an office, got this thing going, got around other people, got excited about it, and really got after recruiting, nothing happened. But boy, once it did, we got back to Texas, we cleaned out the lockers, and I'm going to tell you something. I really believe what little success we've had so far is because the Cardi family moved from Rhode Island back here to Texas, because I can't do what Al does. Training, putting together stuff, all that, I'm terrible at it. I haven't even balanced my checkbook since I was in college. I don't want to do that stuff. I'm inherently lazy. Anyway, my wife will testify. But look, if you can just go get 2 or 3 people that you want to be in business with, it only takes 1 or 2 to get this thing going. And everything explodes. So I want to say this, because I'm worn out at the weekend. Think about going back and thinking about whatever we can do to help you get 2 or 3 people, but really focus on doing that the next 30 days. I'm not saying 300, just 2 or 3. And I promise you, we've got a system right now I can show you how to explode. That little Thai girl that was in the back of the room a while ago, some of you met, that owned a Thai restaurant in Dallas, her family. And I showed some of you guys that block building program that we came out with. And I copied that from a bunch of big builders around the country where you go get 3 and help them get 3's 9, 27. That's what she did when she came to Houston. She got 3 people, wouldn't help them get 9, helped them get 27. Do you know it's 2 months later, and a lot of those people still never got their license. She's still signing apps. 13,000 this morning, helping people, field train all those 100 people she recruited the last 90 days, and they took her from house to house, and every house had 3 or 4 new people sitting there. So it can happen quickly if you get the right 2 or 3 people, and help them get 2 or 3. Don't get 40. Just go. And I say, well, I can't. Well, go get 1, and let's help them get 1. Does that make sense? And I know this sounds kind of crazy for those of you who haven't been around it, but it works. So I'll make you a deal. I want Al to put together a recruiting contest, and you other guys that aren't in it, let me know what it is. We'll put it together, and I'll personally mentor you guys. If you can get 3, the get 3 is 9. And we'll spend hours on the phone together talking how to get to the next level. Is that a deal?
Yes.
And I'm going to be watching what you do. So God bless you for being here. Thank you.